Hello and welcome to Mad Goes Racing and a look at the latest build for Automobilist 2, which is build 1.3.5. Well, it depends what you want to know here. It says 1.3.5.1 on the website, but it actually says 1.3.5.0.1984 on the game, and that's actually, if you've got that, that's the correct one, so don't panic. But I would call it a 1.3.5.1 just for the sake of my sanity when I'm reading from the interwebs. Right, well, the first thing to say is they've changed their way of doing things, and now they're going through release candidates before doing the full final release. So this is the changelog between the 1.3.4.0 and the 1.3.5.0 release candidate, and then we'll do the 1.3.5.1, which is not actually what it says on your screen, but you get what I mean. At least I hope you do. Right, changelog for the 1.3.5.0 release candidate. Tracks added Galeao Airport temporary racetrack. We will have a look at that shortly. Vehicles added Stock Car Pro Series 2022 season. Added Formula Ultimate Gen 2, and we'll get onto that one as well. General corrected nationality flags for all default AI drivers, plus added a new sprint race, Formula USA, Super VA entries, fixing missing entries, revised performance levels of all AI drivers for all classes, fixed Lola 95i models being named without engine distinction and leading to mixed custom AI drivers. UI safety rating data is now updated after rules download is complete. UI on HUD added ICM option to modify ERS deployment mode, more on that later. Added option to configure when ICM menu position will reset on exit. I think that was to do with trying to get it so you could know where it was when you went in and out, so things like voice commands for crew chief will work properly again. Added filter controls to photo screen and enabled photo tools in a vehicle showroom. Fixed sound playing when opening ICM menu. Fixed missing environment data on championship event results screen. Added a Formula USA Gen 1 to Formula Class filter. Livery name adjustments to Copa Classic B and FL for vehicle selection screen. FFB adjusted oversteer countersteer damping compensation. Minor FFB adjustments to Formula Retros Gen 1 and Formula Ultimate. Physics, there's a lot of this. Added ERS deployment system with RPM and gear deployment maps. Revised turbo model of Formula Ultimate engines for slightly faster turbo spin-up and adjusted wastegate harvesting to suit. Revised tyres for the stock car Corolla and Cruise 2021-22 models and Formula Ultimate, focused especially on stiffening tyre carcass with more accurate damping rates. Revised default setups for stock car 2021-22 to suit the latest tyre developments. Formula Ultimate Gen 1 slightly adjusted brake torque. Formula Retro Gen 1 revised brake torque, revised default setup reset recommended. Formula Trainer, both models, revised brake torque, revised default setup reset recommended. Updated gearing. Formula Ultimate revised turbo with smoother spool up for better drivability. AI added a forced and unforced mistake logic for AI drivers, which hopefully if you play with the AI you may have already noticed. Audio revised Formula Ultimate V6 hybrid turbo sounds. Added beep DRS and shift protection notification events. Reverted brake squeal mixer fade reduction back to old value. Tracks, Road America fixed a bug in Road America Bend pit lane path, reduced AI collisions at T5 during race starts. Snowden Lod Pass added variable crowd attendance per session, optimised pastoral fences, fixed Lod on A7 building internal walls. Azure Circuit 2021 enabled option for rolling starts. Jacapagua Historic added variable crowd attendance per session, updated HUD track map. Interlagos, all layouts added variable crowd attendance per session, updated HUD track map. Hockenheim Historic 1977 added variable crowd attendance per session, adjusted HUD track map zoom level. Fine tune AI fast line and corridors. Better rolling start AI behaviour, reduced high frequency road noise physics, object LOD fixes. Hockenheim Historic in 1988, added variable crowd attendance per session, adjusted HUD track map zoom level, fine-tuned AI fast line and corridors, better rolling start AI behaviour, reduced frequency road noise physics, object load fixes. I think that's exactly what it said for the 1977 as well, wasn't it? Spa-Francorchamps 2020 minor load adjustments. Silverstone 1975 increased AI garage depth, fast line and corridors, fine-tuning for no chicane layout. Brands Hatch corrected transparency sorting issue in foggy conditions. Paddock handrail material. Vehicles, Formula V12 added driver animations, adjusted cockpit view, fixed front wing UV mapping. Formula Trainer, both models, fixed the driver shifting animation, added vibrating mirrors on cockpit, adjusted cockpit view, detached the gear shifter in the cockpit, fixed the suspension geometry in the cockpit view. Formula USA Gen 1, various livery updates. Formula V, revised driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter, adjusted the cockpit view. Brabham BT44, adjusted the driver feet position. Chevette, revised the driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter. Fusca, all models, revised driver animations, added vibrating mirror in the cockpit, fixed the cockpit center mirror UV map, reduced the steering wheel radius and the driver seat to accommodate the driver, detached the cockpit gear shifter. Gol, all models, revised driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter. Uno, all models, revised driver animation, detached the cockpit gear shifter. Passat, all models, revised driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter. I'll get my teeth around that. Puma GTB, revised driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter. Puma GTE, fixed the driver gear shifting animation. Copa Montana, added driver animations, detached the cockpit gear shifter, fixed the cockpit center mirror, remodeled the seat to fit the driver. Super V8, revised the driver animations, fixed the damage model on the LODs B, C and D, detached cockpit gear shifter, adjusted the cockpit view. Puma P052, revised the driver animations, detached and relocated the cockpit gear shifter. Ginetta G40, both models, fixed the driver gear shift animation. Ginetta G55, both models, fixed the gear shifter fix the driver gear shift animation. I get my brain in gear and my mouth in gear. Formula USA Gen 1, fixed Reynard 95i rim colour overrides. Formula Ultimate, both gens, added the DRS lights. Kart shift from Supercar, completely redone the driver animations, adjusted some visual gear shifter parameters. Apala, fixed gauges, textures and steering wheel axis issues. Sigma P1 added 3 new liveries. Now the 1.3.5.1 changelog after I've had a quick swig of me drink, because that was a lot of words. Right, general. Added stock car seasons 2020, 2021 and 2022. Championships. UI and HUD, added control assignment help text, fixed text wrapping on strategy, set up labels of session overview in Spanish localization. Added distinct vehicle selection logos for Formula Trainer, Caterhams and Copa Classic car classes. Physics, further updates to stock car tyre carcass and tread. I'm sure they put words in here in the wrong order for me to be able to say them correctly. Minor adjustment to Formula Ultimate Gen 2 tread. Globally reduced wet street tyres sensitivity to water. Formula USA Gen 1 adjusted FFB max force for both models. Sigma P1 adjusted RPM critical range for lifetime for improved reliability. Formula Retro G3TE. It says R-Retro G3TE. TE, I'm not sure what the TE is. I'll have to think about that. Flattened wastegate map so it uses the same pressure limit at all RPMs, limit set by boost pressure percent. Formula Ultimate, both gens, added anti-lag system to turbo and slightly adjusted its properties. Sigma P1 minor default setup adjustments, setup reset recommended. AI, Formula Ultimate, both gens, adjusted AI tyre rolling resistance for more balanced straight line speed versus the player. Added real driver names to stock car seasons 1979, 1986, 1989. The fuck was that? Audio adjusted, very appropriate as he was making funny noises at me. Adjusted turbo sounds for. Why does my camera appear to have stopped working up there? Oh, no, it's all right down here. It's just not working up there. Confusing myself by looking at the wrong screen. Audio adjusted turbo sounds for Formula Classics and Formula Retro TE. Formula Ultimate Gen 1 sound is now same as Gen 2. Galeao added marbles, night lights in paddock area, adjusted LOD values for new objects, added real historic weather data, Hockenheim historic 2001. Add variable crowd attendance per session, adjusted HUD track map zonal level, new AI fast line and fine-tune the corridors, better rolling start AI behaviour, reduced high frequency road noise physics, object LOD fixes, vehicles, Caterham all classes, added dirt map, adjusted carbon material mapping, CH1. For dirt, added vibrating bits on the cockpit. Metal Morrow MRXP2 added 3 new liveries. Metal Morrow AJR fixed cycling between empty Motec display pages. Formula Ultimate Gen 2 added a new display for ERS bar. Minor cockpit mesh corrections. Corrected fuel data, added livery overrides, Chevette, added dirt map, adjusted the shifter gator rigging, added DRS LEDs to Formula Reza, Metal Morrow, AJR and Sigma P1. Now I'm just going to check something because I'm a bit confused why my face is appearing up there, so I will just stop and then I will come back in. Right, I don't know what was going on there. I think it was just me being thick. That's not unusual. I hear you shout. Yes, it isn't, but there we go. Right, as I mentioned, they have new car and they've changed the ERS system. Now, the ERS, you'll be able to access it via the ICM menu. Also, you can set a couple of buttons to swap between the various modes. But this is the spiel they've got on the website about their ERS model. I'll put a link to it, obviously, in the description, along with a link to the latest development update. Important information for new ERS model. The creation of the new Formula Ultimate Gen 2 has led to a complete overhaul of the ERS model, short for Energy Recovery System. ERS consists of an electric motor connected to the drive chain, the MGUK, that is also able to recover kinetic energy. An electric motor connected to the turbine shaft, MGUH, that limits turbo lag and recovers energy from excess turbo RPM, and an energy store, ES, that is designed to hold 4 megajoules of charge. ERS deployment has some restrictions. First, there may not be more than 4 megajoules of energy transferred from energy store, the energy bar, to the electric motor, MGUK, per lap. This is offset by energy harvested from the turbo, MGUH, when deploying, because that energy is used directly and doesn't count against the 4 megajoule limit. As a rule of thumb, on tracks with long straights such as Monza, approximately 40% of energy deployed comes from the MGUH, and as a result, the total amount of energy deployed is well over 4 megajoules. Finally, because the MGUK isn't allowed to put down more than 120 kilowatts of power at any given moment, the 4 megajoules per lap allowance lasts for 33 seconds with 100% deployment, or well over that with direct MGUH energy added. If you ever wonder why some tracks eat energy like crazy and others don't seem to deplete the energy bar, it's because of these parameters and the fact that less time spent on full throttle or more time spent braking at the corners, which is also an important source of energy, shifts the charge balance heavily. Interlagos is a good example of such a track. Even though you have a lot more energy in storage to release, there simply isn't enough straight track and time to spend deploying at 100%. Our revised system now works through driver selectable ERS deployment modes. These are 1. Off, no deployment at all, not used in race mode. 2. Build. Recharge energy storage as quickly as possible while retaining some deployment as to not bog down in race situations. This automatically raises deployment to near balanced as state of charge. SOC nears 100%, not used in qualifying. Balanced monitors the state of charge at the end of each lap or when you switch to this mode. As a rule of thumb, it aims to maintain 80% state of charge. If it doesn't hit this target, it self-adjusts deployment. This is most like the legacy model, except it deploys at slower speeds and throughout the lap. Attack, which is number 4. Deployment suited to catch up to the car ahead in order to get within the DRS time difference and slipstream, not designed to last for multiple laps without state of charge dropping to 0%, nor does it monitor itself. Not used in qualifying. 5. Quali, full deployment amount and little reduction through mapping, with the only compromise being that it has to remain within the regulated per lap 4 megajoules energy release from storage, as in SOC, to the power unit. So there will be some per track mapping in the long run to optimise deployment, so you won't hit the limit on the final straight or at some energy hungry tracks such as Monza. Not used in race mode. Our ERS deployment mapping system consists of a single RPM map, percentage of RPM, and a gear map, percentage in gear, for each mode. Each deployment mode has a base deployment amount, and as mentioned, the build and balance modes self-adjust the amount. This amount is mapped to a final deployment amount through the RPM and gear maps. The aim with deployment mapping is to maintain drivability, boost corner exits, and optimize energy use. For example, 8th gear in a SOC neutral in balance mode, meaning it has the same amount of charge for the MGU H harvesting as it uses, if not slightly more in some cases. Meanwhile, 4th through 7th deploy most to get up to speed quickly. So basically, new toys to play with. Now, I won't be playing with them much because, frankly, I haven't got the buttons set up, and I get confused enough in fast cars as it is without having to add extra buttons. Now, as I said, they've added a new car, they've added a new track, and what we'll do is we'll have a look at the new car at Silverstone, and then we'll have a look at the new track. Or we might have a look at the new track first. Should we have a look at the new track first? We'll go and have a look at the new track. And we'll have a look at a 2020 stock car, because why not? Now, Galeao Airport. As you can see, it's not the most complicated layout ever. And 3.2 kilometres is what? 2 miles, isn't it? Yeah, be 2 miles. What's the date set to? It should be alright here. Why did that car suddenly go white? I don't know. Now the stock car Brazil 2021 and 2022, I think it was, they've got revised tyres, so it'll be interesting to see how much different they feel. Excuse me a minute whilst I just lean over here and put my tablet there so I don't stand on it, sit on it, or otherwise do something stupid to it. Now, like I said, we'll just have just a gentle drive around. Get my brain in gear and we'll stick ourselves on the bonnet. First thing you'll notice about this is it's quite difficult to actually clutch. Quite difficult to spot where you're going. Probably should have left the track map up. Right, I'm gonna swing over here somewhere for the straight. Now the first couple of corners, that's right. I'm gonna have to. Do I need the track map? No, that'll be alright. Obviously, you'd be further over to the right as you approach this normally. Now you notice there's plenty of cones on the apexes around here, because you really do need to be able to spot those from quite a long way away. It is quite difficult to tell where you are. I'm just trying to remember whether or not you can go all the way. Yeah, you can. Basically, if it's sort of nice light concrete colour, I think you're safe to use it. And if it's the darker grey tarmac, you're not. So this is like the hairpin at the other end. We'll try and do a slightly faster lap in a minute, but just a quick look around. Trying to spot, can you see any cones yet? Can you see any cones yet? Can you see? Oh yeah, just about. There you go. Some small cones, and that's about all you get to see. There is actually a curb on the inside of this, so obviously you want to just clip that as much as possible. Run out to the curb on the outside, and then it's the long straight that isn't actually a straight all the way down. But again, it's just keep yourself on this colour concrete, not on the sort of more tarmac-y looking bits up the side, and I think you should be alright. What you want to be aiming to do is, if I aim straight at it now, there's a sort of bit sticks out, or it looks like it sticks out in the track, or what you want to do is just skirt around the outside of that a bit. So the back straight isn't actually straight. Or the main straight, I should say, isn't straight. It then gets a bit confusing because you come up here and there's like there's a tyre wall ahead of us. Where am I meant to be going? Well, if you look slightly to the right of centre, you'll see the first of the distance board markers for the final hairpin. So you want to be trying to run over here somewhere. I think it is. I'll try not to make a complete twat of myself and going the wrong way. And then 3 cones on the inside there, which are the apex, and they put a load of cones in. I don't think those cones are originally in there. I think that's where you go off to the pits. And again, you want to come out of here and wind your way over here, and there's a bit of a kink here. This is where you join in with the pit lane, and that's more or less where we joined there. So what I'll do, we'll get back in the car. It went a bit loud, didn't it? And we'll try and do a slightly quicker lap, but you can see how difficult it is for me to actually spot those cones. Oh, I cut too much of the corner. And this car's quite awkward because if you go up too high, you get that that sort of bit above your eye line suddenly is in your eye line. And I will say the revised 2021-2022 stock cars, Brazilian stock cars, are quite interesting to drive now because of the revised tyres. Feel a lot more direct. So that sort of they're also quite limited on traction out of slow corners. So let's see if we can actually get an illegal lap, shall we? It doesn't help that I've been playing with my FFB a bit, and doing a couple of laps in the new F1-esque car. So as you can see, it's not the world's most complicated circuit. I think it'll actually generate quite good racing because it is quite fast, quite open, plenty of opportunity down here to slipstream, and of course with you push to pass as well in these stock cars. So it should be quite an interesting circuit to race around. But I think you need a couple of laps to work out where the braking points are and where the turning points are, because otherwise you ain't going to know. So that's that circuit. I can't even remember where the start-finish line is, but I think they've improved it because they did originally have some just little black and yellow posts in the corner, so now they put these 3 cones in. It is actually a lot easier to spot than when they first put it in. So that's the circuit. It is quite nice to drive. Simple layout, so you shouldn't have any problems with learning it, because it's literally about 4 corners really. Now the one everybody's been waiting for, the surprise extra, which was the new Gen 2 car. So the Formula Ultimate Gen 2, which is complete with halo and everything, and we'll go to Silverstone because, well, that's where I always go. And we'll go to the one with the DRS zones for obvious reasons. This car has DRS. We'll just have a look in the showroom to have a look at it. As you can see, it is basically the sort of 2022 Formula 1 spec based car. It's not based on any specific F1 car. It's based around what you'd come up with if you had those specs to play with. They're all going to look fairly similar, you would expect. The halo is actually not a massive issue. I know some people are like, oh, we'd like to be able to get rid of the halo. I don't think it's a massive issue. I'm one of these people who never bothers to turn halos off anyway, and those things that I haven't, I don't think I've ever done that. I've tried it a couple of times and go, well, I don't really notice a difference. This, I think, is because I'm sitting sort of in the more than the correct driving position, rather than being right on top of the steering wheel. I haven't really noticed it as a problem. It might be if I moved a lot closer, for obvious reasons, because the closer you are to it, the bigger it looks. So let's just nip round here, and just going to do a couple of laps. Not going to spend an inordinate amount of time in it, because whatever I tell you, it's up to you to make your own decision on what you think of it. But it is quick. It is a car that you will have to have a bit of a think about when you're driving. As far as absolutely stop, all I've done is I have actually turned my FFP down a little bit, because this was quite heavy. I probably should have turned it down in the car rather than here. But if I flick up the ICM, you'll notice you've got this new ERS mode, and it's set to auto at the moment, so you can actually turn it off, put it on build, balance, attack, qualify. It doesn't carry on scrolling, so don't worry about that. But I'll leave it on auto. It probably run most of the time unbalanced anyway. But you should see in the middle of the screen on the steering wheel that it's actually got the current state of the DRS ERS. There are 2 buttons you can assign in your controls to change it up and down. I haven't actually assigned anything, so that's why I'm just leaving it on that. Wait for the beep as we go out of here, across the DRS zone. Nice double beep. You should be able to tell quite easily that that's going. Just trying to think, there's I don't know if you noticed the two green lights to tell you your DRS was on. If you try and turn it on now, if I flick my DRS button, nothing happens. So it's only works in the right zones. If you watch next to the rev LEDs, I'm not exactly trying to do a fast lap at the moment, so turn me a bit harder. 2 green LEDs to say, yep, DRS is on, and it should go out when I brake. notice we've still got 100% for some reason our I forgot to put it back on auto. What prat, eh? It's saying it's not going to auto or what? Come on, turn on. Oops. We'll put it on balanced anyway, so as it didn't seem to want to go to auto. And we'll get rid of it off the screen so it stops annoying us. Now you should see the number to the left of where it says balance going down because we are using energy, and then in 8th gear it should stay fairly constant. Silverstone hasn't got huge braking zones, so there should be a bit of an addition here. But it's a very entertaining car to drive. It's quite nicely balanced. They did say they actually used a fairly conservative setup on it. There are some people complaining they couldn't spin it to sort of easily or anything. The diff is set quite conservatively apparently. There's a few threads here and there about what you should do if you want it to be a bit more lively. We are on the softest tyres I believe at the moment. I think they've got all the colours for the tyres now, so red tyres are soft. And that lock up, I can actually feel the vibration through the steering. You'd probably take a lot more speed through there if you tried. But it's a lot easier with the beep than trying to go, oh, ever going past the line and looking for a light or something to come on or something on the HUD to show that you should be deploying the ERS, so that's a nice addition. Tried to change a gear and hit the DRS button at the same time, didn't work. I managed to miss both. I was looking to see if the steering wheel's actually got what your current best lap was. I don't think it has it? What sort of top speed do we hit? Back end was trying to get away a little bit there, so that's about 1 minute 29 point something, which is not bad. Don't know how that compares with the there you go, 29 and a half. which is about where I'd expect it to be, about a 1 minute 30ish. I don't know how it compares with the Ultimate Gen 1, but it's a really nice car to drive. It's quite nicely balanced. Default, you probably could mess with the diff, like I said, and get it to be a little bit more snappy on entry and exit if you wanted. But apparently it really does work nicely with the small adjustments to set up, so it's obviously everything's working as expected. It's more you can say for certain Formula 1 teams cars, but yeah, really nice addition. The new circuit's quite fun as well. I haven't tried out the revised AI yet. I will get around to it at some point, but yeah, all in all, definitely a major improvement. And the difference with the tyres, you can definitely feel in the stock car how much more positive everything feels from the stiffer carcass. It doesn't feel like it's wallowing anymore. You can still feel like what the tyres are doing, but it's much more direct. It's much more immediate. Everything happens as you would expect to see, without sort of feeling like you've turned in and thinking, is the tyre going to catch up, and waiting for it. So all going in the right direction, major improvements, more to come. But from me for now, that's the latest 1.3.5.0/1 AMS update, and I have to say it's looking really good. So for me for now, catch you soon, enjoy your racing, and I'll see you soon.